Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric, or Druid37. As you can tell, I got a new shave and everything like that. And I'm here to finally make good on my promise on telling you about the I Know Everything build or the Jack of all trades. In this case, the Master of all trades. So, this is going to be another multi-class, and I'm going to use the the human variant race again. Although it does work with half-elves, and I believe it works with the other races. And there's other ways to build it, but this is the easiest way to build it. It's going to be dipping into 3 different classes, which we'll be listing as we go along. And we're going to be starting off with the rogue first. But there is a little thing with this build. There are certain skills you cannot take until you hit a certain level, because the classes you pick in the races you pick and archetypes will give them to you naturally. So if you pick them at the wrong time, you won't get access to all 18 skills in the game. Let's see. And, of course, we'll go over the pros and cons at the end of the video. And this is a really fun build if you really... People say skill monkey a lot, like, hey, I want to be good at a lot of skills. But most people say, I don't want to say, as Puff before say, I don't want to be a jack of all trades. I want to be a true jack of all trades. I want to know that whole skill list, 18 skills. I want to be good at it, and I want to know everything. So, let's go ahead and get started. At level 1, of course, race, you're going to pick the human variant race, as you get an extra skill, tool proficiency, language, and a feat at picking that race. At level 1, we're going to pick Rogue, because as a class, they get the most skills to choose from and the most skills to bit in their list. So you can pick 4 out of their Rogue list. What I would suggest for them, I would pick Sleight of Hand, Stealth, Persuasion, Acrobatics from your Rogue list. And then any skill that's not... The only skills you cannot pick are Nature and Survival. And a smattering of all skills depending on the class later. But Nature and Survival is a big no-no. Don't pick those. So, besides those other 2, pick +1 for your human variant. Next, for our feat, we're going to pick Skill, which gives us 3 additional skills. So, we're going to go ahead and pick again 3 skills that's not Nature and Survival. You should have a pretty big list. And from our background, we're getting an additional 2 skills. Either use a custom background or use a background that gives you 2 skills. Again, as long as they're not Nature and Survival. I'm going to keep saying that keyword, no Nature and Survival. At level 1, you should have about 10 skills. At least, because you'll have +1 from your human variant race, +3 from the skill, so that's 4, +4, there we go, +4 from the rogue class, and then +2 from your background. So already at level 1, we're over 50% done with the skill list. We're going to keep leveling up rogue to level 2. You're going to get expertise finally. You get that actually at level 1. At level 1, you're going to pick 2 expertises from that list. I would go ahead and pick skills. Thieves' Tools... Expertise is, sure, it's nice and everything, but I want to make the best skill monkey, not best tool monkey. That's another build for another day. So pick 2 expertises, your choice. And then at level 2, picking rogue again, you're going to get the cunning action ability. It doesn't affect really anything. We're going to skip a lot of the levels that don't help you in your skills or give you bonus skills. So level 2, you get cunning action, you get some other cool stuff. Don't worry about it. Level 3, rogue. So level 3 character and level 3 rogue. You're going to go ahead and pick an archetype, and you're going to pick Scout, which is from Xanathar's Guide to Everything, right here. The Scout archetype actually gives you 2 skill proficiencies and expertise in there. They don't call it expertise, but it's pretty much expertise in Nature and Survival, which is why we did not pick it. So you're going to have a total of 4 expertises, and now you're going to have 12 skills, because now you get Nature and Survival added to it, and you're expert at those. So you get to add, in case I didn't explain before, expertise is where you get to add double your proficiency bonus to a skill you're proficient in, if you have expertise in it. So right now at level 3, we're adding +4 to those skills, which is pretty good. Moving to level 4, you are going to go, now, we're going to move from Rogue, and make sure you have 13 Charisma. I think it says at the beginning of the video. For this build, you need a requirement of at least 13 Charisma and 13 Dex. That's all you need. Pretty easy stuff, especially if you're using the point buy system. We're going to go to Bard. When you move to Bard, one of the multi-class features it gets is you get to add +1 from any skill on the skill list. So, add another +1 skills. You should have 13 skills total, because Variant Human, Background, Rogue, Skilled, Survival and Nature, and now +1 from the Bard. So, we have a total of 13 skills, and we have 4 expertise. Moving to level 5, 3 Rogue, and we're going to go into another Bard. So that's going to be 2 levels in Bard. You really don't get anything worth of note that helps your skills out, so we're going past that. Here's a big one. Level 6. Staying at level 3 Rogue, we're going to go ahead and go to level 3 Bard now, so 3 and 3. At level 3 Bard, you need to pick a Bard College. You probably already know which one I'm going to talk about, but there's a Bardic College that truly helps skill monkeys. The Lore College. As soon as you take a level into the Lore College archetype, you get an additional 3 skills. And you get the ability of Cutting Words, which is pretty cool, where you can use your inspiration dice to mess up. You can pretty much bane other enemies, making their attack rolls less by your die rolls, skill checks, saving throws. You can do that kind of stuff. But the big thing is you get the +3 skills here. So with that +3 skills, that's going to bring us to 16. And now you also get the expertise feature from the Bard, which is, just like with the Rogue, you get double proficiency bonus in a skill you're proficient in. So now we have 6 skills that we're proficient in, that we're expertised in. 16 that we're proficient in, and 6 that we're experts at. And since we're level 6, our proficiency bonus is now +3. So we're actually adding +6 to any skill checks that we're experts at. And of course, we have a static +3 to those proficient skills we have, regardless of stats associated with them. So it might trade off a little bit. Moving on to the next tier. So we got our 3 levels in Rogue and 3 levels in Bard. Level 7, you're going to take 1 level in Fighter. And biggest thing, not much to say, you get proficiency in all weapons and armors, and you get a fighting style. I would suggest either the armor fighting style, the ranged fighting style, or at most, probably the dueling fighting style. Depending on what you're going with, you shouldn't be really fighting with this build, but you can. You're not useless. Moving to level 8, you're going to have 3 in Rogue, 3 in Bard, 2 in Fighter. Biggest thing is you get Action Search. Doesn't really help out with skills, but makes you more useful in the battlefield or during, cave escape, stuff like that. Level 9, now we're getting to the good stuff. We're going to be 3 Rogue, 3 Bard, and now we're going to take a 3rd level into Fighter. We're going to be picking one of the archetypes from this guy here. Xanathar's Guide to Everything again. Because with the release of Xanathar's Guide, they made a lot more role-playing potential for fighters. Because people are like, hey, I'm playing a fighter. I can't do anything besides fight. Technically not true. It's up to the player. But Wizards did do something I really liked, which is why I love this book. All the archetypes for fighters give you proficiency in a skill, or a language, or some other type of background thing of your choice. So there's the Arcane Archer, the Samurai, and the Cavalier. The Arcane Archer gives you the ability to either take a skill in Arcana or Nature, which, again, throw that out the window. So you could get the skill Arcana, and you learn a Cantrip, Precipitation, or Druid Craft. Let's see, because you're supposed to be an archer that infuses magic with your arrows and with your bowcraft. Next, with Cavalier, you are the basic knight. You are the soldier of the realm. Your nobility usually, so they're going to give you you get a +1 skill from Persuasion, Animal Handling, Intimidation, History. You get to pick one of those skills and you learn that skill. You also can, in lieu of that, you can learn a language, but again, it doesn't matter to us. We want to learn the skill. It's supposed to represent your standing in high courts. You know all this stuff. And Samurai is you learn Persuasion, Intimidation, same deal. Because you're Samurai, you've been a soldier in the army, pretty much. You also get to choose either calligraphy or, I think, proficiency in paint sets. That's kind of cool. That's you're supposed to be a Samurai meditation when you're doing the whole arts of Bushido. You're educated, you're artistic, that kind of stuff. So that brings us, with that +1 to skills, now it brings us to 17 skills, 6 expertises. So we're 1 away. Most people are like, what the heck? We're 1 away. There's 18. How are you getting that 18th one? And we're already at level 9. Level 10. Pick one. +1 to any of the 3 classes, but I'm going to suggest Rogue. For this build that I have, we're going to do Rogue. So you should be at 4 Rogue, 3 Bard, 3 Fighter. If your campaign only goes to 10, congratulations, you just got 18 skills. Because for our ASI, or Ability Score Improvement as they call it, we're going ahead and take a feat, and we're going to take what's called the Prodigy feat. Which, again, from Xanathar's Guide, it's a feat that gives you proficiency in 1 toolset, 1 skill, you learn another language, and you gain an additional expertise. So, that last skill, obviously, Prodigy, pick that last skill. You're also going to get that expertise, so that's going to bring us to 7 expertises and 18 skills. Congratulations. For the whole point of the build now, at level 10, you know everything. You're like, I got it. Need me to roll on it? I've got it. My proficiency bonus is +4. let's see, I've got 7 expertises and skills of my choice. I'm good to go. But you're like, wait a minute, my campaign goes up to 20. I want to keep going. Can I get better at this? Can I be, instead of a jack of all trades who's pretty good at everything, and they're like, hey, I need you to open the door. Hey, I need you to talk to this guy. Or hey, I need you to do this. I've got it. But I want to be absolutely sure I got it. If we stick along, now we're going to take a whole bunch of levels in Rogue again. So, level 11 character. We're going to go a 5th level into Rogue, 3 and 3. You get, this is where you start getting abilities that really don't affect the skills. So you're going to get Uncanny Dodge. It's pretty cool. Use your reaction to half damage that you would take for a turn. Level 12, we're going to go ahead and go to 6th level Rogue. 3 Fighter, 3 Bard. Biggest thing is you get 2 more expertises. This is a big one. Level 6, you get that 2 more expertises. It's going to bring us to 9 expertises. Half of our skills are going to be, we're going to be experts at them. And since we're level 12, again, our proficiency bonus is +4, so now we're adding +8 to those skills statically. Level 13, we're going to gain, this is level 13, we're going to do the level in Rogue, which brings to 7 Rogue. You're going to get the Evasion feature, which lets you half damage from failed saves on dexterity saving throws, and you take no damage on successful saves from spells like Fireball, stuff like that. Moving to character level 14, we're going to do an 8th level of Rogue, 3 and 3. You get a ASI again, so either you can increase your scores, or you can, for the sake of this build, I'm going to do some cool stuff, because we want to be not only good at the skills, but we want to be multiple environments kind of good. I'm going to take a feat for this. So I went ahead and took Linguist because I wanted to go ahead and increase my intelligence, and I wanted to learn 3 more languages. So now I can speak a lot of languages because Linguist lets you have 3 skills, lets you make those ciphers, and you get +1 to intelligence. Pretty gosh darn good. Pretty great feat. As you all know from my TikTok if you've been watching. Moving on to level 15 character. 9th level Rogue, 3 and 3. You get an archetype feature from the Scout. It's pretty cool. You can move your initiative. I think you get to move faster than everybody else. So you can escape and check. Really the whole theme of Scout, but we're not really going to go over it because of the build. Moving to 16. 10th Rogue, 3 and 3. Another feat, or ASI. So I went ahead and chose Dungeon Delver, which is a feat that lets you be able to move at normal pace and look for secret doors. It lets you be able to dodge traps easier. I think you don't actually take damage. I have to check. But it makes you more usable in dungeon environments. So now in social environment, you're already good. Now in dungeon environment, you're good. So 2 parts of the pillars of D&D, as they call it. Level 17, we're going to go ahead and go to 11 level Rogue, 3 and 3. This is the biggest one. This is where you become the master of all trades, not the jack of all trades anymore. You're literally the I know everything. Rogues get an ability called Reliable Talent, which is when you roll a die, if you roll a dice for an ability check using one of the skills you're proficient in, if that dice roll before modifiers, because for this doesn't add modifiers yet, if that dice's face were to be less than 10, so 9 to 1, you can choose for it to be 10 and then add your modifiers. So most people are like, okay, how's that so important? You're proficient in every skill. If you roll an ability check for any of those skills, guess what? You have an automatic 10 on those rolls. There is no more nat 1ing. There's no 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s. And that's before you get to add your proficiency bonus. So we're going to use, let's say we got one with expertise, which right now we're at 17, so we're at the +5. I roll a nat 1. DM's like, all right, let me do something crazy. He's like, I'm going to use Reliable Talent real quick, make it into a 10. You're like, okay, 10, that's fine, I guess. You're like, oh, then I get to add my ability modifier to it. Okay, we'll say it's +3. I guess that's cool. You have a 13. And then I'm going to add a +10 because I'm an expert in it. Okay, so that's 23. Crap. So you get 10 is an amazing number to have before modifiers, as bad as it sounds. It negates all those other low rolls. Now notice it only activates if you roll lower than 9 or below, but at that case you would want to take the 10 or higher. Moving on to character level 18, we're going to go ahead and take a 12th level in Rogue, 3 and 3. That's just for the feat. So another feat, I went ahead and took the healer feat because I want to be off the battlefield. Being able to heal people up lets me use the healer kits, and when instead of stabilizing them, I heal them, but they only get it once per rest. Or you can pick an ASI. This is for you to do. Moving to level 19. Now this is the fun part. If we're doing it the way I did it, I wanted more feats and ASIs. So I went ahead and bumped Bard to level 4. give me another feat, and then I took Keen Mind. I now remember everything I've heard or seen within the last month. I now know which direction is north. I know what time of day is, regardless. There's a lot of things Keen Mind does for you, so you get Keen Mind. And +1 intelligence, of course. And then last but not least, 12 Rogue at level 20, 12 Rogue, 4 Bard, and 4 Fighter. I went ahead and bumped Fighter to 4 too, so I get another ASI or feat. And I took the Observant feat. So now I'm super good at passive perception, because with Observant, you get a +5 to your passive perception and +5 to your passive investigation, which will be really good in the Dungeon Delver, because now you can be like, I'm passively looking for traps. I know where they're at pretty much. Let me go first. That also lets you add your intelligence or wisdom +1 to either. And as long as you can understand the language and you can see somebody's mouths moving, even if you can't hear them, you know what they're saying. Now that you did all 20 levels of the build, you discovered how to get every skill, we need to talk about the pros and cons of this build. Let's start with the pros first. Pretty much the build as it is, you're good at every skill. And if you took it at 20, you're great at every skill. You will not fail most of the time unless your DM says these are intense rolls, so 25 or higher. But again, chances are very low, because now you're at 20, your proficiency bonus is +6, that's a static +12. You have your modifiers if you've been bumping them, and then you have extra little feats to add to it. You have 7 languages. That's pretty cool if you did the way I did, and you have proficiency in 4 tools. But that's just a little extra stuff. The big pros are you also get 6 ability score improvements. So as you only have to use 1, which is for Prodigy, giving you 5, which can either be 10 points towards something or 5 feats. Your choice. Let's see, 9 expertises. That's the big thing. So you went from Jack of all trades to Master of all trades. I have 9 expertises. You really are not going to get over my head. I'm probably going to succeed on the roll, is how you're going to feel. Now we need to get into the cons, and actually the build itself is pretty strong. You get pretty good damage because you took a lot of levels from Rogue. And you actually are not useless in a fight, and you have limited spellcasting, which you can use for utility. And of course, you're good at every skill check, regardless of situation. The cons are more not game oriented. They're more party oriented and socially oriented. So the cons is, obviously, you don't get any upper tier abilities for the classes. So Rogue, you don't get the Stroke of Luck, you don't get Blind Sense, you don't get all that kind of cool stuff, but you've already gotten plenty enough as is, so you probably don't care about that much. Fighter and Bard, that's obvious, you only took 4 to 3 levels of each, depending on how you built it. However, this is where the big cons start coming in. Very hard to roleplay. It is very hard to roleplay a character that knows everything, pretty much. Unless you, like how I built mine, somebody's like, hey, if you were to play this in a game, how would you play it? I said, I would actually play mine as a older character. Like, maybe he's in his 50s or 60s, and he's adventured in his pastime. He came out of retirement, pretty much. And he's just kind of repicking everything back up. He was already good at these skills because of his time adventuring. Let's see. But he's not very good in a fight. He's kind of your, hey, I'm here if you need help. Because, yeah, old young whippersnappers, I know this stuff. You should listen to my word. That's kind of how I roleplayed him. You could also roleplay it as a, you're kind of a expeditionary kind of guy who was hired to help the party out with, kind of like a hireling. You're kind of like a hireling, but you're part of the party. You're a hireling to help the party with stuff they really need help with. They're like, hey, you know what? We don't have somebody who's good with traps. Let's hire this guy real quick. Let's hire Bob, the Jack of all trades. That's how my biggest suggestion for roleplays. But most of the time, most people are going to try to roleplay it their own way. The reason why it's hard is because the other cons, you start stepping on other people's toes if you play it wrong. So, the whole social aspect of somehow, this build can actually cause party conflict. Because you need to know when to back it up and let somebody else try something. So yes, you built something that's good at every skill, that knows every skill, but let's say somebody built that sorcerer over there and he wanted to be a negotiator. He's like, hey, I've worked for a kingdom. I was the one who went to be the liaison between the two kingdoms. I'm pretty good at persuasion, in my opinion, and I've been able to make some deals. I know you probably have expertise, or you at least you have reliable talent, but if he really wants to, or they really want to, or she really wants to, let them do the roll first. Be the just-in-case guy. See, let them ask you first. Say, hey, can you take care of this for us? You can be like, yeah, absolutely, I got this, man. Let me pull out my skills that I have gotten as a young adventurer. I worked with Billy Bob Thornton, the bandit, and I was able to calm him down and his whole pack of bandits. And I'm a pretty good negotiator. Let other people try first, if that is what their character took it for. You're there for the ones nobody took, or the ones they're like, hey, can you do this? Which is fine. If they ask you, go for it. But if you start, the part where it can cause conflict is if you start saying, let me do everything. As opposed to, I can do everything, let me do everything. I'm better at this, don't worry about it. That kind of can upset people because it's like, I wanted to build my character a certain way, and now you have this character who's kind of doing what I wanted to do. Lots of DM people made videos about this, and D&D people made videos about this. Try to rein yourself in. I know it's hard because you're expert at everything, but rein yourself in for the betterment of the party and for you to be able to socialize with everybody. Because ultimately, D&D is a game to play with people, get to know people, and make friends. It's a social game. Last but not least, it's complication and multiclassing. There is a lot of features you get from this build, from every class, like Song of Rest, Action Surge. For a newer player, I would not suggest this build unless they extensively study it. Like, for example, you are building it as we're talking about it, and you watch this video a couple times, or you're like, hey, let me buy these books and read about this, what Eric's talking about, or Druid's talking about, and then you could try the build out. But it's, as somebody who's like, I just want to build it, I listened to him, let me go ahead and do this, it's a very complicated build to remember all those abilities. If you're not going to use those abilities, that's fine, but it does have a lot. On that, really there's no cons. It's kind of a literal jack of all trades. You're kind of all right. You're pretty good at combat. You're great at everything else. You know a lot of languages. You're good in social situations. You're even good at exploration because as a scout, you get some exploration benefits. I would say you're a little bit less on the tool side. You only know about 4 tool proficiencies, but that's still a lot more than most people are going to have. Artificers, some sages, they'll have more, but you're pretty good as it is, so that's up to you. That is the gist of the I know everything build. I'm the master of everything. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments or send me a message, or even send me a message on my TikTok. On that, the next build I'm going to be working on, if I can get the live stream to start working, the next build we're going to be working on is I want to actually talk about the Drill Sergeant build, which is going to be another multi-class build, which it doesn't have a requirement for race, but I'm going to use Human Variant because it's my favorite. And it should be pretty fun because now you get to be a bard/fighter that yells at people. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful night and have fun.